I asked my wife very quietly, would it be okay if I started something that he had American-style hot dog? And she said on 3 conditions. It has to be all meat.
Right.
You have to reduce the amount of preservatives and nitrates, and it has to have kedusha connected to it.
Welcome to JLM Unplugged, a podcast about Olim for Olim. I am Gabi Danieli.
And I'm Michal Cohn. We are Aliyah coordinators for the Jerusalem Municipality. We are here to assist and navigate Olim in their Aliyah journey from the initial planning to final landing and beyond.
Join us as we bring you life stories, experiences, and special guests that you know and love here from our capital city. JLM Unplugged. Welcome, everybody. We're here today with a very special guest, JLM Unplugged, very dear to me in my heart. Aside from a former boss, I have to say, and a person who sits next to me in shul, and was a role model for all the Jewish people, saying this honestly from my heart. He's not only known for the unbelievable colors of his hot dog franchise, but for the unbelievable logo of a beautiful face. I would call you the Moses of fast food. Moshe Zalman Olive. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to have you here. For me, it's a special honor. For Michal as well. We both met you a few days ago. Well, I met you before. Michal met you a few days ago. We were doing something special project with you on social media. So thank you so much again for joining us, for coming here to share your story as an Oleh, as a successful entrepreneur here. My question is your story from Chicago? Where are you from?
Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago. Grew up there.
Was born in Chicago. Grew up in Chicago. Got married in Chicago.
Wow.
Made Aliyah from Skokie, suburb of Chicago.
Okay, wow.
Chicago is my hometown.
Wow. Cubs fan or White Sox?
I'm asked that question often.
Yeah.
And I usually, when I give the answer, people are usually not happy, but I'm a Chicago fan.
Okay,
I don't care if
beautiful.
it's the Cubs, the Sox, the Bears, the Bulls, the Blackhawks.
Just a Chicago fan.
I root for the winner. If they're not a winner, then I'm
okay.
No.
Well, you definitely are a winner in all aspects of life. That's for sure. Moving from Chicago to Israel, you left things behind. I know you were a business owner there. You had a whole company. What were you doing before you decided to make Aliyah?
I had a non-ferrous metal recycling business.
Which is what? For people who don't know what that means.
Ferrous is steel and
Okay.
iron. Non-ferrous is usually categorized as anything else, like aluminum, copper, brass, stainless steel. So our specialty was non-ferrous.
Non-ferrous, okay. So you had to sell the business before you came here?
I did sell the business. That's part of the story. You want me to tell it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty quick. Our daughter and son-in-law and family made Aliyah in 2008.
Right.
We visited them many times with the goal of someday moving to Israel. In March of 2011, we visited our children, and there was a unit that became available in the same building that our children lived in, and we bought it. And that was in March, and by September, which is approximately 6 months later, I had sold my business, and we were living in Israel.
And what's your business now, let's say, that you brought to Jerusalem and to all of Israel?
Well, there was a delay from the time I retired to we started the business, but I, along with my 2 Israeli partners, started Zalmans, which is a fast food. I don't like to use the word hot dog. I like to refer to our naknikia as Zalman. So
Naknikim.
Naknikiot.
Naknikiot.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look, I got to go back to Hebrew Day School in Toronto. Did you know that in Hebrew slang, naknik means not a crybaby, but someone who's not brave?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's something interesting. But you've got hardcore, big-time naknikiyot.
I guess that's suggesting that one has to be brave to eat a hot dog.
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Israelis for sure.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You've got the hardcore Israeli hot dogs. They're massive as well.
So actually, they're American style.
American style. Okay, great.
American style hot dog. We again, myself and my 2 Israeli partners. I could never have done it by myself. I came up with the idea, and they partnered with me. We hired, commissioned an Israeli chef. His name is Ellen Talmor, out of Tel Aviv, very famous chef. Wow. And his specialty was making consulting with restaurants, sausages, not kosher.
Oh, wow.
And we commissioned him to create American-style naknikia.
What made you go into this business specifically?
I guess that's part of the story also.
Yeah.
That, my wife and I were always fans of hot dogs. We enjoyed to have a treat of a hot dog. And when we moved here, we recognized it's just not available to us. And what was available was not the quality that we felt that we could enjoy. So I asked my wife very quietly, would it be okay if I started something that had American-style hot dog? And she said on 3 conditions. It has to be all meat.
Right.
You have to reduce the amount of preservatives and nitrates, and it has to have kedusha connected to it. So we did it. We created the Zalman hot dog after many much tweaking. We offered it to 200 Israelis.
Wow.
And almost without exception, they all said wow. So that was our go signal. We found a location in Midrachov, and that was our first. And we got a lot of social media attention in the beginning because we were the new guy in the block. We came with a product that Israel was not accustomed to, used to, or really appreciated. And so everybody tried it, and we got a lot of. Every major newspaper did something on us. Wow. We were all over Facebook and Instagram, and so we got a real good quick boost, and recognition, and from there it just moved forward.
Move forward to how many chains are there now? How many?
We have 10
stores?
10 now. Actually 11. We just opened one in Chicago.
Oh wow! Okay, let's look at that.
Yeah. It's exciting. My oldest daughter is managing it.
Oh wow!
And I go back there as little as possible. Okay. I don't like leaving Israel. Okay. I don't look like I do. I went back there 2 weeks ago, and I really did not look forward to it. Right. I was very happy to be there. I saw a lot of old friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was very, very excited to come home.
Oh. Yeah. Did you always feel a want or desire to come to Israel to make Aliyah?
Our first trip to Israel was during the Intifada, and we came for Passover. And I remember very clearly they weren't very happy times. It weren't very safe times. But both my wife and I had the premonition of wanting to come here and live here permanently. For my wife, it's like a zero difficulty transition. Right. It was like she had always been living here. Wow. And for me, it wasn't difficult. I mean, I experienced a lot of different. I can tell you about 2 experiences.
Please,
I had
for sure,
on,
please.
This really tells the story about Israel. We arrived at the airport. We had probably been traveling for, I don't know, a day and a half, and they wouldn't let us go out from the airport until they nefesh b'nefesh, all these papers and a bank account, and here's some free money. And so I remember we're driving, and we brought a dog with us. Oh wow! A big dog, and he was totally exhausted. He was in the baggage compartment for I don't know how many hours. And on the way from the airport to our apartment, halfway there, the driver says, "Do you mind if I stop and daven mincha?" Wow! Wow! Here we are. A month later, we were in a taxi cab in Talpiot, and I remember this like it was yesterday. And we were at an intersection. 2 cab drivers got out of their cabs. Yeah. Obviously, they knew each other. And they were screaming at each other. I mean, it wasn't just for a second or two. It was like for several minutes, screaming. I actually got frightened. I mean, what's going to happen here? Because they're going to come to blows. Right. They stopped screaming at each other. They walked away, and they both turned to each other and said, "Good Shabbos." Wow.
It's also very Jewish.
Good Shabbos, and they got into their taxi, and the driver drove off like nothing had happened.
Wow, amazing.
So that's what Israel. That's what Israel is to me. There's a lot of, especially now during the wartime, a lot of tension. People have difficult lives. People walking down the street. You walk down the street. If I walk down if I walk like, let's say, 200-300 meters, and if somebody doesn't walk in front of me, and I have to stop, or else I'm going to bump into him, then I haven't. And I say, why does that happen? Why does that happen? It happens because they're not being rude. They don't want to bump into you.
Right.
Their mind's somewhere else. They're thinking they have.
There's a lot
not an
going
easy
on.
life, huh?
Right. There's a lot going on.
A lot going
on. With that being said, you chose Jerusalem as your only living place. Straight.
Right.
Why?
Because our children lived here. Our children lived here, and our children and grandchildren.
Right.
And we moved into the building that they had been living in for 3 years prior.
So when you moved to Israel as an older couple, later on,
What? Excuse me?
so as a young couple, which I still have to get, sorry, I'm jumping over here for just 1 second. I just want to know, who came up with the colors for Zalmans? This is someone's always asking, something I've always wondered.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
Okay.
my partners. We hired a firm, professional firm,
Okay.
an advertising firm in Tel Aviv, and they came up with the logo and the colors and the design and everything.
Beautiful.
So
Wow.
it wasn't any creation of creation of.
Also,
I mean,
crazy
Yeah.
coincidence that we're all wearing yellow
Well, we're in
today.
yellow today. I'm wearing my Zalman's hat.
Yeah.
It's
Just happens to
unbelievable.
me.
Happens to be. You know, when I first saw the Z, I thought Zorro.
That's what I think.
Yeah, right.
I still think. I still think so.
Awesome. I have to ask you this. Living in Jerusalem as a younger couple, leaving Chicago, Skokie, you had a community there. How's it transitioning and finding a new community here? Or new friends?
Okay. You make me realize that I'm not the type of person
Right.
that's going to be home at night answering a phone call from someone who's going to want to talk to me about an issue that he may have or an issue that I might have
Right.
for 10, 15, 20 minutes an hour. So if you don't have those kind of relationships, you don't have a lot of friends. Because usually friends communicate with what's the definition of a good friend? Somebody who communicates with you often.
Right.
When you feel you are in need of some consultation, some advice.
Right.
And Baruch Hashem, I have all those things in my wife.
Wow.
So I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances.
Right.
My wife doesn't have a lot of friends. She has a lot of acquaintances. And there's a lot of people I love and respect and very happy to put my arms around and give a hug and say, hi, how are you? But past that, I like being home.
Amazing.
I like being home.
Amazing. People don't know this, but when we interview you on the social media, we asked you what your favorite place in Jerusalem was.
Favorite person?
Favorite place.
Favorite place.
And you gave a very unique and interesting answer that all of us in our office speak about constantly, and we're all amazed, from the head to everyone. Can you please share that answer with everyone here?
My favorite place in the world. And it has always been, not necessarily in Jerusalem. No matter where I lived, it's been my home.
Why?
Because that's where I'm most comfortable. That's where I'm most at ease. That's where I'm most myself.
Right.
That's where I can cry and laugh and jump up and down and be silly and make jokes and act stupid. And no one's going to look at me and say, what's wrong with you? And it's only because my wife, we've been married for 56 years.
Wow.
And I knew her 7 years prior to marriage. So I've known her for 63 years. That's a long time.
Okay, we're going to ask this. What's the secret? Many of us want to know.
I think there is a secret. The secret is to be able to tease each other, to laugh at each other, and to confide in each other. We're always teasing each other. And it's the same teasing we did 60 years ago.
Wow.
And it always gets the same laugh. So it's repetition. There's nothing new that happens in our relationship. It's the same old thing,
Right.
but it's the same laugh and the same smile and the same.
You know, as I'm hearing you say this, I'm thinking about your relationship on the micro level is, maybe if we take it to the macro level, is the relationship with the Jewish people and Hashem a little bit. That, you know, at home, Israelis, we're all Jews, we all tease each other here in Israel. We laugh at the similar things, we have our differences. But when the world comes against us, we're united as...
Yes.
So that's something that I've just thought about, which is amazing.
And if anything, Hashem, what does He expect from us? He expects from us routine.
Right.
He wants the same thing from us every day. Daven Shacharis, I want to see you in the morning. I want to see you in the afternoon. I want to see you at night. When you're on the road, think of me.
Right.
Because I want to be on your mind. I feel like I have good advice for you, ways that you should conduct yourself in public and private. So when you have a relationship with someone,
right.
the relationship is twofold. It's knowing what pleases your partner,
Right.
and expecting from your partner what pleases you. And when those things converge on each other, you have something that could last for a long time.
So true. Amazing. There's so much to learn from you. It's unbelievable. So when you made Aliyah to Jerusalem, why was it so important for you and your wife, aside from your kids living here, to actually be here? Okay. Because most people okay, you know what? In America it is they leave New York, they go to Florida.
Okay.
Something more relaxing. Jerusalem is not relaxing for people.
It's we've all read and studied about the city of Jerusalem.
Right.
And what do we connect to the city of Jerusalem? We don't connect the hustle and bustle and this and the difficult. We connect to the fact it's a holy place. Uh-huh. It's a holy land. It's a holy city.
Right.
So when I think of Jerusalem, I think about the holiest place in the world. I mean, everything, the whole world. This is the epicenter of the whole world.
Right.
And I want to be if I'm going to be in a holy place, I'm not going to be in other Israeli cities. If I'm going to be in, I don't want to mention names, but they're all any city you mention. I want to be in the holiest of holiest places, and that's Jerusalem. There's no question. Nobody can argue that point.
Right. Okay, as Moshe Zalman, the businessman, how is it to open up a business here in Israel? The process, because a lot of people want to move to Israel, want to make it here, want to be successful. Yeah. A lot of Olim have that dream. Aside from high tech or whatever, fintech or whatever other business sectors they're going into, you went into the food business and you've succeeded, totally. So any advice for Olim that want to open a business?
Okay, I will agree with you if we talk about America and having success in America in the business world. Right. Baruch Hashem, thank God I had success in the business world. Why? Because I understood the culture.
Right.
I understood the people. I understood the wants, the desires of my customers. I knew what it meant to create a quality business. It's all about relationships. Mm-hmm. If you have relationships with your customers, and they trust you and you trust them, they're not going to leave you if there's a flaw. If you create a flaw in your business model, they're going to stay with you and try and help you remedy that flaw. I don't understand the Israeli culture, and I've been here 11 years, and I've come to the admission that I probably will never understand the Israeli culture. That's not a fault of the Israeli culture; it's a fault of me. So, if I were to come here and think that I'm going to open a restaurant or any business establishment by myself, I would be fooling myself because I don't understand the Israeli culture. So my advice to anybody who's going to think they're going to come here and have success as a business, as an entrepreneur, I would suggest that they consult with an American Israeli, somebody who's been here a long time, or partner with an Israeli that speaks their language, and you can create a relationship, a trusting relationship with. I would never advise someone to come here, okay, we're going to make Aliyah, now let's find a job.
Right.
Let's find something to do. It could work, but I think the chances, the odds against one's having success with that agenda is considerably reduced.
Our office does that a lot, that we enable and ennoble Olim to have the support already once they made the decision that they want to come to Jerusalem. So we provide them the support, the guidance, navigating through the process. And especially when they land, we assist them, we coordinate with them, everything they need, take care of the bureaucratic stuff. But what you just said right now about business, that's something that I personally didn't know. And that's a piece of advice I'm going to use now for a lot of them, because we do get questions. Okay, how am I going to make it? A lot of it for the young adults, they ask, okay, I went to college, how am I going to get into, how am I going to succeed in whatever it is they feel they're doing here in Israel? But definitely for business people, that's unbelievable advice. So that's a piece of advice I'm for sure going to use, that our office deals with a lot.
Israelis are very, very smart people.
Right. Oh, for sure.
They're the smartest people in the world.
Right.
You're never going to, don't ever think that you're going to outsmart an Israeli. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Especially on their football field.
Right. No, 100%. They have home advantage for sure. Yeah. They have the language. And the culture is different, like you mentioned, for sure, without a doubt. aside now from the Zalman businessman that you are and unbelievable family man, you also do other projects on the side. And there's a deer project that I know that you are involved in. It's called the AZ House. Can you just tell us a little about what that is?
The AZ House was started probably about 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was introduced to a young man his name is Eric Levitz, who is a recovering addict.
Okay.
And the concept was to open up a recovery home in Israel for young men who have addiction issues. Mm-hmm. So I was deeply involved with it in the beginning in organizing, creating, and implementing the concept, the idea. And I'm proud to say that it could be, and don't quote me on this, but it could be one of the most successful recovery homes in the world. We have approximately 60% success. And what does success means? They go through the program,
right.
They get a job,
right.
And they, for a period of time, I don't know exactly what that period of time is, they're able to deal with their addictions without falling prey to their addiction.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful place, beautiful people. It's growing. The house now wants to open up a women's division.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
And it's been very, 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 very successful.
Okay, well, that's a huge shkoach. We just happened to meet by by divine providence, someone who owes, I think, his life to the AZ House.
Many people have said that to me.
Yeah.
And thank you. Yeah.
I know he has so much gratitude for you, and he spoke really highly of the whole program and everything. So it's very.
And one of the keys to it is that the residents are not charged. There's no cost.
Oh, wow.
No cost. It's free, and it's all done by donations. And the reason why it is designed that way is because we want to have minimal involvement with people who have made decisions for these young men in the past, specifically their parents.
Right.
Once you allow parents to participate in the payment program, then they participate in how the program is run and managed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we try to keep them separate from it.
Right.
We encourage them to come and visit.
Right.
But it's all done with donations.
Wow.
Like I said, it's been very, very successful.
Right. No, definitely. I see that stack box every single day. Beautiful design with the house.
But you don't put enough in it.
I know. Well, we won't talk about the salad. That's a good point. Okay, you got me there. No, that's unbelievable work. As well as we know that post-October 7th, you yourself and Zalmans has been very involved in supporting our soldiers and providing food and running things at the bases. And you've actually an interesting story about the Gaza Border, I think it was.
Yeah. We've done a picture there. We've done many events for the soldiers, right. Women soldiers and young men soldiers, in all parts of the country, north, south, east, west.
Right.
One specific event that we did that will be a forever memory in my mind. We went to an army base to serve 700 soldiers.
Wow. And
it was within eyesight of the Gaza border. I mean, if you walked 5 minutes, you'd be in Gaza.
Wow.
And 600 of these soldiers were in attendance. There was about 100 that weren't because they were still in Gaza trying to get out. It was a tank division. So a commander, there were several commanders there, said, we don't know when they're going to come out. It's getting late. Let's go to them. Wow. So we packed all of our Zalmans in a pickup truck.
Wow.
And probably about 5 or 6 of us drove with the commanders. He was our chauffeur into Gaza, and we welcomed a tank division coming out of Gaza, and they had been fighting for approximately 3 months. And this was their first time, and they were obviously very excited, very happy. Right. And a good percentage of them had a familiarity with Zalmans. Mm-hmm. And when they saw me, obviously this guy has something to do with Zalman. They grabbed me and put me on top of the tank.
Wow.
And they pulled out an Israeli flag and started singing.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
It's like...
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
If anything, that's like a great Aliyah story.
Yeah.
So it's a good memory.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was dark, and the only lights came from their cell phones or from the tanks.
Or from the yellow.
Oh, from the
yellow, reflection of the yellow.
Yeah.
So because we have to wrap it up, and I guess that's one of your favorite moments.
Wrapping it up.
No,
that was a pun. Wrapping
it up. Exactly. By the way, anyone who thinks to work at Zalmans is easy, this man is a perfectionist. To that each fry should be so
another
tasty.
non-truth.
So, but there's one moment that you can pick in your whole Aliyah process and your journey to Yerushalayim specifically that stands out. That one day, Baruch Hashem, you have grandkids, but when you should have great grandkids, that you put them on your knee and you'll be like, I want to share a story. What would that be? What moment?
Okay, well, I don't want to be rude, but I can't answer that question because there's no one moment. It's all one moment. For me, it's all one moment. It's not one specific moment. It's all one moment. Every morning, every morning, seriously, I pinch myself. I say, where am I? I look out. I look up at the sky. I see the sun. I see no clouds. I see warmth. I see Jews walking around all over, and it brings me tremendous joy, tremendous happiness. Those are my moments when I'm here with you guys. That's a moment for me. Wow. So there's no one specific moment that sticks there. The whole experience is a moment. That's so. I'm sorry, I can't give you.
Beautiful. No, that's very poetic. Very beautiful. It's very Jerusalem-esque.
Yeah, it's people. That's all. Our whole lives is dedicated to appreciation. Right. Appreciate. If we don't appreciate, we're in big trouble. And appreciating where we are, where we live, and who we're surrounded by, and it's a tremendous joy, tremendous happiness.
Okay, Moshe Zalman, thank you so much for joining us, taking out of your busy day, and joining the Jerusalem Municipality, JLM. It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.